Morena, Colin here. Welcome to Parklands at Home.
Kia ora, guys. I'm Jasper. Welcome along to Parklands.
We don't really know what we're doing here, but good news, Jasper. I heard tell that God was seen at work in New Zealand, and someone asked God what he was doing, and God said, "Working from home, mate." Ka-ching.
Oh, what a dad! What a dad!
Yeah, dad jokes. They're a terrible thing. Hey, so we're going to try and stream something on the day, but if that works, you'll be getting this video footage so that we don't miss things out. Still doing my head. How do you gather together when you can't gather together? It does my head in.
Definitely. Well, one thing we did try as a church this week, and some of you guys joined, we had morning tea together, which was a bit of fun. Some silly faces on screens, but it was great just to connect with others, wasn't it, Colin?
Yeah, no, it was a good move. I'm pleased to do it. And we'll do it again. We're trying for 4 o'clock Thursday afternoon. There's an invite in your email, and you can just, it should be able to get in with a laptop or a desktop or even a cell phone. You should be able to get in and join us. You have to provide your own tea or coffee, but company and cheerful faces, those things are on tap.
Definitely.
We're also putting together some material. I'm trying to put some material together for Easter Sunday and Easter Friday. Friday, we'll just stream something, put something up on YouTube. Easter Sunday, we'll try what we're doing here. Remember, if you can't get into the Zoom, well, you can't see this, you'll be seeing this video stream. It's something we prepared earlier. So Jasper, we had to call off church camp, but I hear something's happening on Easter camp.
Yeah, that's right. Easter camp is still going ahead in a certain way because Easter doesn't change. And so what's going to happen is Central Easter Camp has actually worked together with Southern and Northern, and they're going to be bringing some live messages, some live sermons, which will be great for us youth, hopefully the youth that are hearing this. Hopefully you guys can come and join us on like a watch party, and also some of the adults. If you guys want to hear what these kids are listening to and getting told, it'll be great for you guys to tune in as well.
Awesome. I'll be in for that. What are we doing for family time?
Family time. So things never change, especially like birthdays. And so we actually like to celebrate. And the way we're going to celebrate it, and hopefully you guys can join us, is with jazz hands. So for birthdays, today we have, from that I know, Georgia List. So
hey.
Ian France.
Hey.
And Katie Gray.
Hey.
Awesome. Happy birthday, guys. Hope you guys have had a great week.
And we have no idea who's had a wedding anniversary, so you have to flick us a comment or let us know. If you got one rolling up, tell us, because we'd love to give you a shout out. We think that's a big deal. And what should we be celebrating, Jasper?
We should be celebrating just times where we get to spend with family and actually with God.
Absolutely. Actually, it's a really good time. Now, there are people who are pretty pressured. There are people who are essential workers or trying to run a business from home, and man, that's complicated. But if you find you have a lot of space, don't just Netflix it. Try spending some time in prayer. There's some on our website and some great apps out there, Lectio 365, Bible in 1 year. They're worth a go, eh? They're worth a go.
I'm giving Lectio a go, actually.
How are you finding it?
It's good. It's all about routine. Right now, routine is so messed up, and so trying to get that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And look, I know this is a tough time. If you're extroverted, you kind of find yourself feeling stir crazy. Use your phone. We're really keen to do that. Connect 3, ring 3 people or contact 3 people each day, just to keep connected with each other.
Definitely. Any other notices, Colin?
No, I guess keep an eye on the website and our Facebook page just to let you know what's coming up. We will be streaming something for Easter Friday and probably for Easter Sunday. And today, look, I've got a bit of a message in this. I went a little bit crazy. So it's because it's Palm Sunday today, right? And it's also, we're trying to finish off our 1 Peter series. So I've stuck some stuff together and found myself holding a cell phone in front of my face in strange places. So after this, we'll roll in that. And if organized enough, we'll just put some gaps for some singing on the end, okay? Sound all right? Thanks loads, Jess.
No worries.
Cheers.
After Jesus had said these things, he went up to Jerusalem. When he got close to Bethphage and Bethany, at a place called the Mount of Olives, he called his 2 disciples and gave thee in the following orders. Go into a village up ahead. When you get there, you will find a young donkey that has never been ridden. It will be tied up. So you need to untie it and bring it to me. If the owner asks, why are you untying my donkey? Simply tell him,
the Lord needs it.
The disciples did as Jesus told them. They went into the village. They found the young donkey. And they started to untie it. But as they did so, the owner came up to them and asked,
Hey bro, why are you untying my donkey?
and just as Jesus had told them to do, they replied,
Don't, bro. The Lord needs it, man.
Then the 2 disciples brought the young donkey to Jesus. They put their clothes on it, set Jesus on its back, and off they rode. They reached the path that led down from the Mount of Olives into Jerusalem. And the whole multitude of disciples began to shout praises to Jesus for all the powerful things they had seen him do. When does the Pharisees heard this, they were not very happy. Some of them called to Jesus, saying,
Jesus, tell your disciples to be quiet.
to which Jesus replied, If you manage somehow to quiet the sloth, the stones themselves will shout. Which was actually truer than any of them knew. What Jesus actually meant, of course, was that the stones would shout out his praises too. So let's all do it together. Donkeys, Pharisees, everyone.
Blessed is the King who comes in God's name, Hosanna in the highest.
Blessed is the King who comes in God's name. Hosanna in the highest.
Today is the day when Jerusalem welcomes Jesus. They rip down the palm leaves and wave them and have an America's Cup kind of parade for Jesus with no physical distancing involved. And often on this Sunday, churches have a parade. Well, not so much today. Jerusalem for a moment in Palm Sunday recognises Jesus and welcomes him. It's like the moment when Jerusalem opens its doors. Come on in, Jesus. Welcome to our bubble. That's what we use our front doors for, to welcome or to exclude. So I've got a question for each of us as a household. What is it that you would welcome into your home? If you want to do a family activity, you could do a poster. What things do you welcome into your home? And what things not so welcome? Obviously, COVID-19 being one of them. But we'd welcome love and joy, and I hope the stranger. And we would slam our fours in the face of hate, greed, and COVID-19. So if you want to celebrate Palm Sunday, why not make 2 banners? One, the things that you would welcome into your house and have a wee parade around the house with the music turned up high, and one that says the things you don't want to be welcome, and throw that one in the rubbish. But it's also our last Sunday looking at 1 Peter, and to do that, I need to go to the sea. Some of you will have heard the story of King Canute. I've heard 2 versions. One is that the king was so impressed with himself that he was suckered into going down to the beach and putting his chair halfway down the beach and commanding the sea to stop. And of course the tide rolled in. Actually, what I read now is that in fact he did this. He set up his chair in the way of the tide because he wanted to illustrate that even the power of kings was nothing compared to the power of God. Regardless, if you're going to stand firm, it probably matters where you're standing. In our 1 Peter series, we've been looking at how similar our world is to the world of Peter's. To how the Christians of that day felt powerless and under threat, and as Nero's persecution had broken forth, they would have felt like they were standing in a tide that was just going to swallow them up and wash them away. And we're not as persecuted as that, but we too live in our time, and our time has its tides. We live in a time where the Barna groups say we have a digital Babylon, where we are shaped by our screens. We live in a time when the growth inequality is booming. We live in a time when there are more and more people claiming no religion. These are changes, and it can feel like the tide is coming to wash us away. But at this moment in time, in lockdown, in what some Christians are calling a rahui, a rest period, it might be worthwhile paying attention to Peter. And Peter's response to this fear of being swept away is to remind the followers of Jesus whose they are. That they have a living hope and a deep grace and a peace in abundance. That they come with a connection from Jesus, the Jesus who knows what it is like to suffer and beats death at its own game. In the last paragraph of 1 Peter, Peter writes, "With the help of Silas, who I regard as a faithful brother, I have written to you briefly, encouraging you and testifying that this is the true grace of God. Stand fast in it." Which I'm going to call stand firm in the grace of God. And if you're going to summarize 1 Peter, that's not a bad summary. Stand firm in the grace of God. What does it mean to stand firm in the grace of God? My guess is that it means not jumping on the public shaming of lockdown breakers. My guess is that it means being slow to pass judgment. Remembering whose we are. Remember back after the earthquake, some idiotic Christians decided that the earthquake in Christchurch was because of, no, it doesn't matter what it was. That is not standing firm in the grace of God. You're standing in something that smells. The culture that Peter lived in was what was called an honour-shame culture. It means that your identity is formed not by what you do, but by who your connections are with. Your status from who you know and who knows you. And Peter says your identity, my identity, is formed by Christ choosing you and me, and our status by the same. And then he assumes that we will suffer, and that when we do, we will walk the road of Jesus. Next week is Easter. We'll run an Easter Friday reflection and an Easter Sunday thing too. But meantime, as you lock yourselves in your offices, as we try and play with our kids or head off to essential services, as we live this strange life, stand firm in the grace of God. And I'm going to go back to the ocean one more time, just to remind us of Palm Sunday. Well, I'm back in the sea, because you may not have connected it, but Jesus in the Palm Sunday story is welcomed into Jerusalem, and he sticks to his guns. Although he has the power to change everything, he stands firm and chooses a role of sacrifice and surrender. The tide is going to roll in a week's time and sweep Jesus off his feet, carry him to an early death. And that may not sound like great news, but 1 Peter wants to remind us that we are called to faithfulness first and foremost. And he keeps linking our story with Jesus and the sufferings and sacrifices of Jesus. Our job is to love and not to exercise power. Not to shake our fists and be angry, but to respect one another. Stand firm. And the tide is coming in, so I'm stopping here. That about brings us to the end, though there's some songs loaded up on our website if you want to have a sing. May the peace of the Lord Christ go with you wherever he may send you. May he guide you through the wilderness, protect you through the storm. May he bring you home rejoicing at the wonders he has shown you. May he bring you home rejoicing once again into our doors.